Do you want to add 10 pounds of muscle? Well, I'm going to teach you how to build muscle year round. So if we're going to look to build muscle year round, we need to spend a full year in a calorie surplus. Remember, if we want to radically change our physique and add as much muscle as possible, we need to spend time in a calorie surplus. The only way we're going to lay down the nutrients needed to put on muscle mass. You can't build muscle in a calorie deficit. You just can't. No matter how hard you train, no matter what you take, you cannot build muscle in a calorie deficit. You can only do it when you give your body the building blocks it needs to build more of those muscle in a surplus. It's the only way. So if we're going to build as much muscle as possible, we need to be able to spend a full year in a calorie surplus. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to figure out your maintenance calories and then just eat just above that, anywhere between 300 to 500 calories over that maintenance mark. And you're going to aim to gain half a pound a week. I know it doesn't seem like much, but this is what 1 pound of muscle looks like. You're not going to gain half a pound of muscle in a week. It's not going to happen. You're probably, if you do everything correctly, going to gain a quarter pound of muscle. So just about this much of muscle a week. That's what you're looking to put on. So if you aim to put on half a pound a week, that we can ensure that some of it's going to be body fat, but some of it's going to be muscle. So it's a good ratio where it's not too much fat and too much muscle. All right. So that's what we need to do. We need to spend time in a calorie surplus first. Now, next thing that we're going to do is, and I know it just kind of goes against what I just said, but you're going to throw in 2-week mini cuts periodically throughout the year. And the reason why we're going to spend a little bit of time in a mini cut phase is because we're going to strip away body fat, right? We want to strip away some of that body fat. Remember, your goal is to gain half a pound a week to ensure that we're gaining mostly muscle, but you're also going to gain some body fat with that. So we want to kind of diet away that body fat. Because we're going to diet away the body fat, we'll be left with the muscle. But the other reason why I want you to throw in 2-week mini cuts periodically throughout this process is because it improves your insulin sensitivity. What that means is it improves your body's ability to handle carbohydrates, meaning that you can handle them a little bit better. And more of the carbohydrates floating in your bloodstream are going to go into your muscle tissue as opposed to being laid down for more body fat. Unfortunately, you can't just stay in a calorie surplus all the time without getting too fat. So you're going to feel a point where you're like, I kind of feel uncomfortable. That's probably a good time to do a 2-week mini cut. You diet away some of that body fat. You're left with more of that muscle, and then you go right back into building again. And now you're more insulin sensitive. Your body's going to utilize more of those nutrients better, and you'll be in a better state to build more muscle. All right. Now, next thing, we need to build more mind-muscle connection on lifts. What that means is we need to focus on the area that we're training. So if I'm doing lateral raises with dumbbells and I get a pump in my traps, that's not good. That means my form is shit and I need to focus on lightening the weight so I feel it in the target area. If you don't have a connection with the muscle that you're training, when you're doing it, don't do that movement. There's no hard and fast rule that says that you need to do X movement to build a certain body part. For example, barbell curls. Everybody says it's the staple for building muscle in the biceps. For building good biceps, you have to do a barbell curl. But if you don't feel and are connected and feel your biceps getting pumped up when you do a barbell curl and your form is good, it just means that you just don't have a good mind-muscle connection on that movement. So switch to something you do. So for example, if you feel it when you do dumbbell curls more in the bicep, then focus more on dumbbell curls. You're going to get way more out of that because you are connected to that movement. The bicep is getting the full tension that it should when doing that movement, as opposed to a barbell curl in this case that you might not feel 100% of the tension. Okay, so build mind-muscle connections with movements that you're doing. If you have no connection, get rid of it. There's no point in keeping it in. All right. The next thing, in order, what we're going to do here to build muscle year round is you got to do 6 to 8 hard sets per body part. Okay, per training session. 6 to 8 hard sets. And I'm going to emphasize that. Hard sets. Not bullshit sets. Not like, oh, you're talking to your friend and that's a set. No, bullshit. You need to train hard. You need to train the muscle to failure with good form. I'm not saying to be an ego lifter and just throw weights around. You need to train with good form. And you need to have good form, good connection, and take that muscle to failure. I like 0 to 1 rep in reserve. So what that means is I can't complete another complete perfect form rep on my own. I just wouldn't. That's 0. So in other words, I'm doing curls and I get to this point and I'm just like, I can't do any more. That's 0, right? Or I like to leave it with 1 more. So for example, I finish and I'm like, okay, if I do 1 more, it's going to be bad form. I'm stopping. So you want to train 0 to 1 reps in reserve, hard sets. I walk around the gym and I see people all the time that train subpar and are curious why they don't have good physiques. It's because you're training not hard. You're training like a little girl. I hate to say it like that, but you're training like a baby. You got to train hard. You got to force muscle on. Your body's just not going to put muscle on just because you walked into the gym. You need to train hard. 0 to 1 rep in reserve with good form. That's the key too, with good form. Because if you're hurt, you're obviously not going to make any progress. All right. And the last thing, and this is the most important one, is you have to set real expectations for yourself. You're not going to turn around, especially if you've been training for years, and just magically put on 30 pounds of muscle in 1 year. It's not going to happen. So you have to set realistic expectations. Everybody has genetic limits. And I would say that a good 5 to 10 pounds is a year adding a muscle to your frame is great progress. This is 1 pound of muscle. So 5 of these throughout your whole body is excellent progress depending on how long you've been training. If you've been training for years and you're adding 5 pounds of muscle, that's a lot. And remember, if you space this out over your entire body, that's not a lot of tissue. But remember, the rate of muscle gain is a 1/4 pound, if you're doing everything right, a week. It's nothing. Half of a half. I can't even really get to that on here. It's nothing. So you got to set realistic expectations for yourself. If you set a goal to gain 30 pounds, chances are that 30 pounds that you gain is not going to be all muscle. Sorry to say. Your friend who did that and went on this crazy bulking, put on 30 to 50 pounds of pure muscle. It's not all muscle, I promise you. And most of it is probably body fat. So set real expectations for yourself. So I'm going to summarize this for you really quick. 1, you need to spend a full year in a calorie surplus. Stop trying to stay lean. You got to be in a calorie surplus. Be in a level where your body can actually add muscle tissue. Then second step, you're going to throw in 2-week mini cuts in there just to improve your insulin sensitivity, stay a little bit leaner, and again, just focusing on quality muscle gain. 3, you need to build mind muscle connection with movements. If you don't feel a movement in the target area, don't do it. You're also going to do 6 to 8 hard sets per body part, per training session. Not bullshit sets, hard sets. And the last one, set real expectations. You're not going to gain 30 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. Not going to happen. What you see in the magazine's a lie. That's not going to happen. All right. If you made it this far in the video, congratulations and thank you for watching it this far. But I have a gift for you. I have a free, no strings attached, 6-week training program that will show you how to put on the most amount of muscle as possible. So click the link there. You can pick up that training program. And until next time, this is Anthony, AB Fitness. I'll catch you on the next one. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, a comment, and if you are looking for a coach and a nutritionist, visit our profile. We would love to help you out today.